What's going on, Cowboys fans? It's your boy Foots here. I'm actually feeling really, really good. Just got through jogging. My energy's good. So I held off on this video, but I couldn't hold off much longer. But I also wanted to make sure that I did the proper research, really graded these guys properly. I have I think I did 3 pages of notes on my running back prospects. Yep, I got running back class here, and then I did a bunch of just write-up stuff, just because I want to make sure that I really came across and was able to explain the reasons why I have certain guys graded a certain way, and ultimately why my rankings for the Cowboys and all these running backs are in play for Dallas. Believe it or not, right now the conversation is running back or not, when, why. To me, people have to not say Dallas, there's no way that Dallas should take a running back in the first round. You can't think like that, because Bijan Robinson may not grade the same way that Ezekiel Elliott may grade. He also, for my money, does a little bit more than Ezekiel Elliott was able to do coming out of Ohio State. And we have to remember, we're drafting at 26. All your first round grades may be off the board by the time that pick is available. So, but I have actually 2 round 1 grades on 2 of these running backs, and my ranking may surprise a few of you guys, so I'm really excited to get to it. Did a lot of research on these guys, and let me get to my honorable mentions before we really dig into the meat and potatoes. I like Eric Gray out of Oklahoma. I like Dwayne McBride, and I like Tank Bigsby out of Auburn. So those are my honorable mentions. They didn't make the top 5 cut, but they're guys 4th, 5th, 6th round. If they're hanging around, they make a lot of sense. But let's talk about my number 5 ranked running back that makes sense for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, number 5, I have Zach Charbonnet, UCLA running back. To me, Charbonnet he's more of a bruiser, not quite fleet of foot. Now, the interesting thing about him is, while he's not fleet of foot, Chip Kelly actually threw him the ball at UCLA, and Chip Kelly's doing some nice things with that scheme. You watched the Oregon game, I really liked. I really like the Washington game, and Washington is known to have decent defenses. The UCLA game, and you see, once he gets going, defenders move out his way. The thing with Charbonnet is he's kind of slow, and the change of direction isn't great. So he's more of a 3-4, maybe a 4-5 for me. But the power, the finish, and he plays big. There are some running backs who are big backs that don't always play big. He plays big, so I do like that about him. But he will be a good complement to a guy like Tony Pollard. And remember, what we have to find out is, what does Dallas want to do with Ezekiel Elliott? If Ezekiel Elliott's still on his roster, then certain backs are going to be off the market for this team. But that would not stop me. Even Zeke being on his roster would not stop me from drafting the back early. But if it's Foots, everything that Zeke has done for us, I would like to move on from Ezekiel Elliott. I think that you're hurting yourself by just keeping him around, and he really holds and adds no real value, makes nobody miss anymore. So it's kind of tough. But Zach Charbonnet is kind of one of those downhill backs. He comes in at number 5 for me. Good player. I just think the other guys just offer more, and the hips are kind of stiff. But again, I like what he can do. In the right scheme, he adds a lot of value to a team. Number 4, Zach Evans, Ole Miss. To me, Evans is really, really interesting. Has kind of that Felix Jones, long stride, kind of run high type vibe with him. But you see him making plays. You see him he's very, very slithery. You see him able to follow his blocks. Now, the vision is cool. I would like him to set his blocks up a little bit better. Some of these other guys on this list do a great job of staying patient. I think that he relies on his speed and his long stride, kind of a Tevin Coleman type. But again, an SEC running back has seen all of these types of defenses. In that Lane Kiffin system, I think that he will transition to the league fairly nicely. It's going to be interesting to see how he runs between the tackles in the NFL, because what I saw was there were times where there was an opportunity to kind of lower his shoulder, and he didn't. And so what I said was Charbonnet, he's a big guy who plays big. Sometimes I didn't see that in his film. Sometimes I didn't see him finish runs. Outside of that, Zach Evans has breakaway speed. It's kind of crazy how much he reminds me of Felix Jones. Felix Jones had I wouldn't say a nice career. Like, he had a below nice career. And I think that if Zach Evans can clean up some of those nuances in his game, the finish, the hands aren't bad, but the finish, I think that he would be a guy 3, 4, 4, 5 again. But he comes in at number 4 for me. I like the player. I don't love the player, but I really like the player. If he's hanging around the 5th round, maybe he's a guy that Dallas pulls the trigger on. Coming in at number 3, and I think that this one might surprise a lot of people. I went Devin A-Chain number 3. And so this is when we're going to start to have some fun with this ranking. Now, I apologize, y'all. I was looking at this, and I hope this little snot, sweat, glob on my hoodie doesn't bother you all. I was just running outside. Like I said, I feel good. The energy's good. And I was like, dang, Fuzzy, you look crazy. But it is what it is. We ain't on TV. We on YouTube. We having fun. Devin A-Chain, Texas A&M, was probably the funnest player. I have it in my notes. The funnest player to watch. His film just jumped off film. I mean, his abilities just jumped off film. His jump cut is second to none in this draft. Like, there's not a back who has a better jump cut and can get from A to B quicker in this draft. His start-stop ability is exceptional. There is a true issue, though, that I have with Devin A-Chain. He is extremely small. And it's a pipe dream to say, oh, you know, small guys need love too, this, that, and the third. You know, every back doesn't have to be 225. No, they don't. But I'm not using a resource on a guy who I just don't know if his body is going to hold up in the NFL. He is electric. I almost just want to say, Devin, why don't you just be Deebo Samuels and just be a slot receiver? Because he's that good and he's that scary and electric after the catch, but I just don't know for what NFL teams are going to ask him to do. And then you got to think about some of the things, some of the refs that I saw in Pass Pro were just, they basically, at a point they were asking him to do it at A&M and then they just stopped. You like a lot of things in the way that Jimbo used. You like some things, right? The speed is outstanding. The movement ability is outstanding. But you have to ask yourself, everybody's fast in the NFL. You're going to have to take some of those dirty runs, and he just won't do that. He just doesn't do that. And he's not going to make defenses stay up at night because he's just not physical enough. And that's some of the part where you look at a guy like Dameon Pierce, who, no, coming out of Florida, Pierce was not a Blazer. But the difference is Pierce makes you, if you're trying to tackle Dameon Pierce, Dallas saw it when we played him. Like, hey, you trying to tackle Pierce, it's not going to be easy. And those are the things that you're looking for in the back. Like, hey, he's going to make you think twice about, he's going to make corners and even safeties. Hey, when you come and you coming downhill, you better bring your lunch pail. With A-Chain, it's almost like you could just push him over and he's on the ground. He does have decent balance, but is it NFL worthy? That's what scares me. Again, the funnest. It's almost like his tape was almost like watching Tavon Austin. The funnest player to watch. But these other 3 guys, because we got something to talk about here. But these other 3 guys, I just have them rated a little bit higher. I have a 3-4 on A-Chain. I could see a team taking him in the 2nd round if you want to play on the edge a lot. But for me, he's a 3-4 guy, and it's strictly because, I got to be honest, the size just doesn't check the mark for me. He's just too little, and that's going to be an issue in the NFL. Number 2, and I want to look at the camera, and I want to say this. This guy has everything. Tajai Spears out of Tulane is, his game against USC was teaching tape of how you run the football. The patience, there. The power, there. The speed, there. The ability to pick your battles, there. The ability to know when to lower your shoulder and let a defender know I'm here, there. You know, they're running GT counter. They're running buck sweep. He doesn't overrun any blocks. He's set like he's playing with these defenders' angles. It's almost like, you know, if you guys have ever coached and you're doing indies and he's running a V drill, he's stepping left, right. He's playing. It's almost now, I don't want to say LT. I'm looking Le'Veon Bell-esque with the patience. He will not overrun a block. He knows how to let those guards wrap around, tuck, 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 boom, and hit it. Tajai Spears is my number 2 back in this draft. If he went to a bigger school, he might be a number one because of the surrounding cast around him. He had absolutely not, like, even the O-line play, it was good, but they were running a lot of gap scheme stuff because they didn't have maulers. So in a zone scheme, are you kidding me? This guy would be a dog. Like, if he's sitting here in the second round, Dallas would have to have a true conversation, especially if you move on from Zeke, about drafting this guy. His lower half is rocked. The production, he was all of pretty much. Okay, we'll put it to you like this: there's only one other back that I like more than him, but the size, I got two other above him, but the size of another back is why I would take him over him. Other than that, Tajai Spears is a second-round pick for me. And if he's sitting there in the second round and you don't have Ezekiel Elliott and you're wiped out, I would not be mad at this pick. He's that good. And you got to think, when we're talking about scheme, catching the ball, he can run routes. Again, the USC game was teaching tape. Teaching tape. We got to think about how Mike McCarthy wants to play football. He used a lot of 20 personnel, 2 running backs in Green Bay. He likes those Aaron Jones, those Ahman Green types that can kind of do it all for you. Tony Pollard. But if you want to ace to Tony, you can have another Tony Pollard type. And again, Dallas will draft players that went to the Senior Bowl. Will McClay is on the ground. Hey, this Tajai Spears, he's somebody special. Doing drill works, Tajai was killing it. So again, for me, he's my number 2 back, and it's not even close. Like, all these Power 5 guys, he was better than to me. He has it all. Like, he jumped off the screen for me. So Tajai Spears comes in at number 2. You guys, that's the one that's debatable. You let me know. You guys let me know on that one. Let's really have a conversation in the comment section about that one. All right, 1A, Bijan Robinson. 220, the ability to pass catch, the ability in pass pro, the ability to set up blocks, the speed, the runaway ability. And he's been the topic for Cowboys fans since our season ended. Would you draft Bijan Robinson at number 26? Yes, I would. Again, you may be wiped out of first-round grades. I don't care. I really, really like Bijan Robinson. And I've already covered him a lot on this channel, so I don't want to go into too much in depth. And, you know, it's funny when you hear people who say, oh, you're a fool for even talking about drafting Bijan Robinson in the first round, Bijan, whatever you want to call him. But I don't even know if the J is silent. Bijan, beyond, whatever. Beyond to infinity and beyond. But it's funny. When you think about, well, you shouldn't draft a running back. Well, Lance Zierlein is somebody who I follow who's been doing this for a long time. He does all the write-ups for NFL.com, and his dad worked in the NFL. He's a very respected colleague. Like, you know, he had Bijan Robinson as a top 10 player. So you can't look at, well, the backs last year weren't good. You never take a running back in the front. No. You grade them for who they are and what they can do. And this guy is special, and that's just that on that. But 1B will really surprise you guys. And I'm not going to say 1B is better, but for the Cowboys, he just might be. 1B, Jamir Gibbs. So, the same excitement that I have for Tajai Spears is the same excitement that I have for Jamir Gibbs. If you look at, what games did I write down? I wrote down the Georgia game, the LSU game, and the Texas game. 2 big-time defenses. Texas defense is in, but Georgia, big-time defense. You would be hard-pressed to find one rep where Jamir Gibbs took a tackle for loss. You'd be hard-pressed to find one rep. He led Alabama in receiving and rushing. Think about that usage now. Think about that. This is Alabama. He transferred in from Georgia Tech. He's been an absolute stud. I think that him getting with Nick Saban and that program and that grit that program brings to you. And now we've seen some Alabama running backs come into the league and be kind of special. You see with Josh Jacobs, you see out what Najee Harris has been able to do in Pittsburgh and the way his running style. I think that Jamir Gibbs has more Josh Jacobs than he does Najee Harris. But the difference is the receiving ability and the ability to make you miss in space is flat out special. I think that if he goes to the right scheme, he could easily be better than Bijan Robinson. Easily. If he goes to a scheme that has another back and he's not the workload back, he could easily come in and be the team's second best receiver. He has that good of ability as a receiver. Like, I'm telling you, swings, slant game, out game, quick game, like all those type of things, little Texas routes, he is going to eat over and over and over again. That's why he's my 1B. And the only reason why he's my 1B is because he's 200 pounds. If he's 220, he's my 1A, and he's better than Bijan Robinson. Like, if you like Christian McCaffrey, you'll love Jamir Gibbs. I mean, it's just like what I said about with Hyde and Christian Watson. If you like Christian McCaffrey, you will love Jamir Gibbs. So, you know, these are my rankings, guys, and I feel really good about this. It took me some time because I didn't want to just, well, this is what I'm seeing all over the internet, or this is where certain guys have. No, because like I said, Tajai Spears is better than all of these guys to me, except for Gibbs. And Tajai Spears is better than everybody except for Gibbs and Robinson. And it's weirdly as it sounds, I feel like Gibbs has the potential and is very close to being better than Robinson. Like, I just think that he's that good. He has that much wiggle. And he just has a feel. So you guys let me know. Let's really debate about this one. I really want to dig my teeth into this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's your boy Foots. All these guys really kind of make sense for the Cowboys, but it all depends on what are we going to do with Ezekiel Elliott. If Foots wants to move on, I think it's time. It's just time to break that band up. And if I'm Mike McCarthy, you get a guy like Gibbs. Let's say even if you traded up in the second round for Gibbs, he hits two needs. Like, he's that good. If you want to lead with Pollard, then bring him in to be a closer, and then vice versa. He's really that good. Same with Spears. So I know it's a lot of hot takes, but I hope you guys enjoy it. It's your boy Foots as always. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing.